For over a decade, they were the untouchable blueprint of loyalty and black love in hip-hop. But in a matter of seconds, that entire 10-year legacy was dismantled live on stage. It was supposed to be just another public appearance. Instead, it became the exact moment the culture collectively gasped. According to public discussion, Remy Ma delivered her now infamous MC Lyte moment, a blatant, unapologetic flex of independence that didn't just cross a personal boundary. It completely erased it. But while the timeline erupted over the words that echoed through the speakers, industry observers noticed something far more disturbing in the deafening silence that followed. Where was the most loyal husband in hip-hop? Critics argue the foundation had been fracturing for months. The quiet cessation of joint appearances, the subtle removal of digital footprints, and the dark, toxic shadow of battle rap culture slowly bleeding into their living room. Supporters believed they were just navigating a private storm. But just hours after Remy's viral stage moment hit the blogs, the ultimate discipline broke. Papoose, a man famous for his absolute stoicism and public restraint, finally logged on. What he revealed in those frantic hours wasn't just a bitter reaction to a viral clip. Behind the scenes, a completely different, highly calculated war had already been fought. Today, we are tearing apart the public narrative to expose the exact legal maneuvers, the hidden timeline, and the ultimate catalyst that forced the most patient man in New York to finally pull the trigger. Because this isn't just a story about a broken marriage. This is about the total, calculated collapse of an empire. The blogs didn't just report the stage moment. They forensically dissected it. Within minutes of the clip circulating online, the narrative violently shifted from temporary shock to a massive, crowdsourced investigation by the hip-hop community. People quickly realized this public fracture wasn't a spontaneous explosion. It was a result of a slow-burning fuse that had been lit months prior. The impenetrable illusion of their unified front was exactly that, an illusion meticulously maintained for the cameras, brand deals, and reality television contracts. To understand the sheer gravity of the collapse, industry observers started digging backward, tracing the breadcrumbs that led to the stage. The first glaring anomaly appeared in their digital footprints. For a couple whose entire brand and financial empire were built on the concept of black love and unbreakable loyalty through a decade-long prison sentence, the sudden cessation of joint public appearances was a massive red flag. By the winter of 2024, the coordinated red carpet outfits, the joint interviews, and the performative social media displays quietly vanished. Supporters initially brushed this off as two veteran artists simply pursuing individual business ventures. The reality was much darker. Behind closed doors, their shared orbit was already decaying, crushed by the weight of maintaining a perfect image. The cracks in the foundation widened significantly when the notoriously toxic, hyper-disrespectful culture of battle rap bled directly into their living room. Remy's heavy involvement in her battle rap league, Chrome 23, brought her into close, continuous proximity with rising star Easy the Block Captain. According to public discussion, what started as professional association quickly spiraled into relentless internet rumors. Candid pictures surfaced. Milliseconds of body language were analyzed by thousands of viewers. The blogs began churning out speculative headlines connecting the two, creating an inescapable echo chamber of disrespect aimed directly at Papoose. In hip-hop, perception is reality. When you are a legendary New York MC known for your unwavering street principles, having your wife constantly linked to another man in the most ruthless subculture of the genre is a direct challenge to your pride. This introduced a second and perhaps most terrifying anomaly. Papoose, a man who historically went to war with anyone who even uttered his wife's name disrespectfully, did absolutely nothing. There were no angry IG lives, no diss tracks aimed at bloggers, no public threats to Easy the Block Captain. The silence was deafening. It forced the culture to ask a chilling question. Was the most fiercely protective husband in the industry turning a blind eye, or was he quietly gathering ammunition for a legal war? The answer was hidden in plain sight, deep in the archives of a mid-2024 podcast appearance. Long before the stage incident and the battle rap rumors reached their peak, Remy dropped a subtle but devastating clue. During a casual conversation about loyalty, evolution, and marriage, she nonchalantly stated that people change, and sometimes you outgrow the individuals who held you down during your darkest times. At the time it aired, Listeners interpreted it as a generic, philosophical take on life post-prison. Viewed through the lens of today's catastrophic fallout, it reads as a direct confession. She wasn't theorizing about the concept of growth. She was delivering a heavily coded exit interview to the public. The disconnect between their PR strategy and their private reality had become utterly unsustainable. The battle rap rumors, the silent husband, the coded podcast interviews. It all created an emotional pressure cooker. The MC Lyte moment wasn't a sudden slip of the tongue. It was a lid finally blowing off. Every single rumor, every whispered allegation about Chrome 23, and every missing Instagram post culminated on that stage. It was a definitive proof the blogs needed to validate months of dark speculation. The culture instantly split into two warring factions. Team Remy defended her right to evolve, arguing she had paid her dues and was no longer obligated to play the loyal wife trope forever. Team Papoose viewed the entire ordeal as the ultimate, unforgivable betrayal of a man who paused his own career and waited a decade for her freedom. But the biggest piece of the puzzle remained missing, hovering over the entire controversy. The narrative still hinged on one crucial, unanswered question. Did Papoose know this public execution was coming? If he was completely blindsided, his impending reaction would be a messy crime of passion. But if he knew, if he had seen the writing on the wall during those long, silent months, then the internet was about to witness a highly calculated retaliation. The clock was ticking, and just hours later, the vault opened. The 12 hours immediately following Remy's stage performance were suffocating. The internet was practically tearing itself apart, waiting for the inevitable retaliation. In New York hip-hop, there's an unwritten, ironclad code of respect. You can navigate private marital issues behind closed doors, but the second public embarrassment enters the equation. A response is mandatory. The culture demands blood. For months, Papoose absorbed the ease of the block captain rumors, the subliminal disrespect, and the constant badgering from fans, displaying a level of stoicism that bordered on unnatural. But the MC Lyte moment fundamentally altered the dynamic. It forced his hand. The narrative had shifted from quiet, deniable speculation to loud, undeniable humiliation. Just hours after the clip set the timeline on fire, the discipline shattered. Papoose broke his legendary silence. What happened next was immediately twisted by the blogs. Gossip sites quickly scrambled to post clickbait headlines, claiming he had an emotional breakdown or unleashed a fiery, expletive-laden tirade aimed at his wife and her battle rap associates. The actual reality of his statement was far more calculated and arguably far more terrifying. He didn't yell. He didn't issue street threats. He spoke with the cold, measured precision of a man who had already accepted the death of his marriage. By strictly separating the blogger noise from his actual words, a different picture emerged. He carefully addressed the concept of loyalty, the decade of energy he had invested, and the harsh reality of facing public disrespect. It wasn't the panic reaction of a blindsided husband frantically trying to save his family. It was a closing statement of a man who had already walked away. The broadcast instantly polarized the culture, turning a spectator sport into an all-out war. The split was visceral and immediate. Half of the timeline demanded fierce accountability from Remy, pointing to the ultimate betrayal of a man who sacrificed his own prime years to secure her freedom. They framed him as the ultimate victim of a toxic industry. The opposing side argued that Papoose's public response was a highly calculated PR move, designed to paint himself as the eternal martyr while intentionally leaving his wife to the internet wolves. The hip-hop community wasn't just watching a breakup. They were drafting soldiers for a brutal, very public divorce. Everyone assumed this IG Live was an emotional breaking point. They believed the stage incident had finally pushed him over the edge, forcing a messy, spontaneous reaction from a broken heart. They were completely wrong. While the timeline was obsessing over who won the moral argument on Instagram, a quiet, devastating detail slipped through the cracks of the family court system. Papoose hadn't just logged on to vent his frustrations. His seemingly spontaneous statement was actually a heavily veiled checkmate, because behind the scenes, long before Remy ever touched that microphone and sparked the final controversy, he had already quietly filed the official separation paperwork. The most patient man in hip-hop wasn't waiting for an apology or an explanation. He was just waiting for the ink to dry. The revelation of the predated legal paperwork completely shattered the internet's narrative. This wasn't a sudden lover's quarrel. It was a calculated dismantling of a multi-million-dollar empire. The tangible fallout was instantaneous, shifting the conversation from battle rap rumors to devastating financial reality. Within 48 hours of Papoose's broadcast, the professional consequences hit with brutal force. Confirmed reports surfaced of lucrative joint brand deals being quietly halted. A major, heavily promoted joint business venture abruptly scrubbed both of their names from its corporate registry overnight. The unified front that had successfully monetized the concept of unbreakable loyalty for a decade was visibly liquidating its assets in real time. But the most glaring consequence wasn't financial. It was a chilling reaction of their inner circle. The hip-hop industry, usually eager to capitalize on controversy, went completely mute. Mutual friends and legendary affiliates refused to publicly choose a side, resulting in an incredibly awkward industry standoff. While the public tone finally shifted from making cruel memes to expressing genuine concern for a family structure, the culture's underlying double standard became impossible to ignore. Critics fiercely argued that if the roles were reversed, the industry would have quickly rallied behind a male artist, but Remy was left entirely exposed to the internet's most ruthless factions. Then, just as the public finalized their verdicts and declared Papoose the ultimate victim, a massive leak disrupted everything. A close mutual affiliate leaked a conflicting piece of the timeline to a prominent urban blog. This unverified but highly circulated detail suggested that the infamous Easy the Block Captain timeline didn't align with reality at all. According to the leak, Remy and Papoose had actually been privately separated long before the battle rap rumors ever materialized. If this leak holds weight, the entire narrative flips. It means the MC Lyte moment wasn't the explosive spark that destroyed a marriage. It was simply the loud, ugly, and very public funeral for a relationship that had secretly died a year ago. Today, the impenetrable black love empire is officially fractured. The legal paperwork is processing, the lucrative brand deals remain suspended, and the harsh reality of the reality TV curse has claimed its most legendary victims. It is a brutal reminder that once you monetize your marriage, your divorce becomes public property. But in the music industry, the curtain never fully closes. Despite the brutal public fallout and the impending legal war, eagle-eyed fans noticed a bizarre digital anomaly just days ago. A subtle footprint, a quietly liked photo on a mutual family account, suggests that behind the absolute public silence, lines of communication might actually still be open. It leaves us with the ultimate unanswered mystery. Is this a definitive, tragic end of their decade-long bond, or are we witnessing the most calculated, toxic PR chess match in hip-hop history? Where do you stand? Was Remy's controversial stage moment a necessary, albeit messy, reclamation of her independence after years of being boxed into the loyal wife trope, or was an unforgivable betrayal of the most dedicated husband in the culture? Drop your verdict in the comments below. If you want more unfiltered deep dives into the darkest corners of the industry, hit that subscribe button.